Hello and welcome, everyone. We are going to be dealing with the Emperor this evening and going on all about that lovely big card, the Emperor in the Major Arcana, and little bits of facts and knowledge for you as a reader that you may or may not know, or just a reminder, or if you know something, please do share it with us or ask questions. Here's the Emperor, number 4 in the Major Arcana Tarot. The Emperor. What does he stand for? If you look, he sits alone, very much alone, and it's a hard job to be on your own, isn't it? And he sits on a throne that looks like it's made of concrete, quite icy cold. Gone are all the cushions from the Empress that we did last week. Now, the Empress had her cushions, which symbolise she likes her creature comforts, she likes beauty, she likes to be comfortable, and she's very nurturing. So she wants to be comfortable and she wants others to be comfortable. All the difference is here that our guy, the Emperor, is actually somebody that knows he's just got to have somewhere to sit down and get on with it. Because the Emperor is all about logic and it's all about being able to do the job in task. So he sits there on that throne, and all that's really there, if you look, are ram's heads carved out just where he rests his arms and on the top of the throne. Lovely. The ram's heads are in conjunction with the astrological association of this card, which is Aries. But the planet that it's associated with is Mars. And if we look at the background behind the throne, bright orange, and that is to do with that fiery energy of Mars and that fiery energy of Aries. Aries, of course, being the first astrological sign out in the zodiac. It means that they are strong and capable and full of new beginnings. And like the planet Mars, very strong and prepared to go to war. Let's just look at what the Emperor's wearing. He's got a suit of armour. And that suit of armour is, number one, it's protection. And number two, it's showing that he has been in a position previously to do battle. And he has gone through things, navigated life, and he wears that because he has the authority to do so. It's symbolic of somebody that's navigated a lot of obstacles and probably come up with a few answers. The Emperor sits there with his suit of armour for protection and to show his authority, which is, I've been through this life, I've navigated. The other thing that we can see about the Emperor is the white beard and the white hair, significant of and symbolic of maturity, experience. And so that maturity and that experience, he sits there with this cold throne because this is somewhere to sit. This is somewhere for me to do the job in hand, the task in hand, and somebody's got to do it. And it's not meant to be comfortable. And I'm all about logic. Aries is not always about logic. The Emperor is. It's just the astrological association. So you've got this wonderful Emperor sitting there. Notice the blue sleeves. That is for calm, peace, reassurance, and it's also the colour of the throat chakra, which is communication. So his communication will be logical, it will be disciplined, it will be stern. If you are worried about what to remember about the Emperor, I would actually say think of it as someone who's the boss, somebody that's prepared to take responsibility, somebody who's going to get the task in hand done. And they will do so with the discipline and an authority, which is very much like the daddy of the tarot. We met the mother, which is the Empress, and now we're meeting the father figure of the tarot, which is the Emperor. And combined, his logic and her nurture and her beauty and empathy balance the fact that the Emperor has got to be the person that says we've got to get things done and we've got to do so with intelligence, and I've got to weigh up all the facts before I come to a decision. And then when we've got that decision, it will be based on the facts, and it won't be based on emotion, and it won't be to do with me having popularity, and it won't be to do with me feeling that I have adoring fans that are ready to congratulate me. It just needs doing. And it's the Emperor. He is very different from our mother figure, the Empress, who we saw that so many things: beauty, value, physical beauty, motherhood, gentleness, fertility. The Emperor is the one that's saying we've got to run a business, or we've got to run a country, or we've got to run an organization, or I've got to actually run this enterprise or this family or the finance. When the Emperor comes up in a reading for myself, does this mean I'm a good leader? Absolutely, absolutely what it means. It means you can lead. It means that you are somebody who is disciplined. It means you are a good leader, a manager, or, the father of the group or the family or the big brother, or the person that's actually probably, people say, oh gosh, you're a bit of a killjoy. But you're not a killjoy, because things need doing. And we need someone to get these things done. And we look to people like you, if it's come up as you in a reading, Carla, for that to happen. So it does make you a good leader. It's exactly what this card is about. It's about leading, it's about connecting, and it's very much about being a very strong, masculine type energy, mature, bold, passionate, someone who represents authority and action. Look at his lovely, rich, luxury robes. It's absolutely gorgeous, as in the colours red or russet or orange, tan. All of those mean the astrological association to Aries and to the planet Mars, but it's that fiery energy. And if we look in the background behind the throne, you can just about see in this actual card that there are mountains. And the mountain, he knows that there are obstacles, and those obstacles will come. They represent challenges. You need to climb the mountain to be able to get there. But let's look at his throne. It actually looks as if it's hovering above almost the mountains. Can you see what I'm saying? They're behind him, or is he elevated above the mountains and they sit in the backdrop? He may have actually already climbed those mountains and dealt with those challenges, and no doubt there'll be more of them, that's for sure. Our Emperor is somebody that's very clued up. If we look at his crown and we see the jewels there, and some decks have different sort of stones in the actual crown, the crown is actually to say that's his authority and that he does deserve the right to wear that crown. Look at him. He is facing us. If you've got a reading, he's looking at you and he is saying, hold on a minute, I'm holding my gaze. Don't look away from me. I'm talking to you. And I demand respect. I don't want you to thank me, but I want you to respect me. I want you to listen, and I want you to actually know that this is what we're going to do based on all of the information. And those jewels in this particular deck, some of them are white, some of them are red, as you can see in his crown there. And the red is for the passion and for the confidence, and the white is for the purity. The blue on his sleeves is for calmness. The red again in his tunic is passion, confidence, drive, ambition, determination. The orange is, the orange sky behind means I'm also fiery. I'm passionate, but I'm fiery. And I can be like that amber traffic light, that I can suddenly change. And it's not because they're bad-tempered or hot-tempered. Don't misjudge that. It takes a lot for him to lose control, because remember, this is about control. This is about self-discipline. Yeah? So it's really good. Another question. And good. This is lovely. I keep getting the Emperor card, and when I pull it out of the deck, what does it mean? It means that you're probably facing some challenges and that you need to be in that place where you can be absolutely certain of your own decisions. It means you really are in a place of being able to get things done seriously. to be seen, to be heard, to be understood, more to go with your head rather than your heart, August. So it means that when this is coming up, it's telling you, you know what? You do have all the answers. The logic is there. Apply logic, not emotion. So logic coming up here. And it's about serving situations really well, August, and being productive. And it means that you have all of this lined up and that you are able to achieve and not to hide your light under a bushel, for you to actually say, this is my time. Also, I want to say, just pay notice to the rams once again, because rams in tarot are all about the fact that it's all about being innovative. It's all about being able to actually move forwards to achieve your desires and let your mind dominate over your emotions. A ram just goes right in, quite an exciting character as well. But the blue that we see in his tunic on his arms there, as he lays his arms on the throne, that I feel sorry for him on that cold, concrete throne. It shows that he has integrity, calmness, and devotion and stability. And that's what I'd say to you, because that's what it's about. It's about trust that you are more than capable for you to use your mind and your head over your emotions, to use that integrity, to be the warrior. Be protected as you go out there and you use logic. You may actually find that not everybody is a fan of what you're saying or doing. That doesn't matter. Maybe it's saying to you to wear your suit of armour and to do things with confidence and let your head rule things, and your lovely heart from the Empress. Should I be a leader? Absolutely. This is definitely about leading. Most definitely it's about leading. It's about taking that on. Leading enterprises of any kind. It might be leading the family, you might be leading the team, you might be leading a group, you might be enterprising with a hobby and going, do you know what, I do have a full-time job, but I am going to actually set up this enterprise. It's a very enterprising card. Does it mean I will be self-employed? It means that you're enterprising enough to actually to get to that point of self-employment, especially if this comes up in yourself, and if this is coming up with pentacles and it's coming up in the 6th house, which is the house of work, or the house of yourself, which is the 1st house, or the 2nd house, which is finances. It could also come up in hobbies, saying that should develop like the Emperor and use logic to turn my hobby into an enterprise. What a great question. Yes, it does mean you will be like a father figure, depending on where it comes through. But that's a really good energy, Carla, for you to be able to say, to be kind, to be firm, to be in a place where you are just and fair, impartial, and it can mean that you are going to be like a father figure. And that could be that you're connecting with your own father. That can be that you're the daddy, or will be at some point, or that you need to deal with matters in a fatherly way, which is with discipline, firmness, kindness, maybe the traditional ways of providing for people. You thought you'd join the live. That would be really nice, Passionate Sagi. Very welcome. Can we say welcome to Passionate Sagi? Before we try and bring you on, whether it's today or the next time, I've got such a lovely question here. Now I need to wait for the combination video for my next question. You are a star. You are starting to follow the formula that I'm giving to you, Goose. And that's exactly what it is. We're doing the educational points of one card, and then we're moving along then to show you how to use that card with the method that I actually use, which is combination cards, because it will give you great depth. Meanwhile, there's something else I want to talk about, what he's holding in his hands. Let's just look at the fact that there are really 2 beautiful golden pieces. And in his left hand, he's got an orb. And this is symbolic of law and responsibility. that stands for rules and regulations, that little orb that he's got there, and that's in his left hand. And emperors always hold supreme power. They've got no nonsense. There's a direct insight into situations. They lead empires, of course. In his left hand, that orb is about being taken seriously, about how he rules the world, and it's about law and logic. Now, in the right hand, we've got this, what looks like a wand with an Egyptian symbology on the top, and it is an Egyptian ankh, and that's symbolic for physical life, being a representation of the spiritual life. What we gain from our physical life transfers into our spiritual life and goes on into the afterlife. But it's also in his creative hand, it's his emotional self that's linking to the power that he's holding on to. And this will make him very profound in what he does. When this card comes up, isn't it lovely? If this comes up and you're asking about yourself and it comes up in your physical self, or you're asking a question about business or career, it's absolutely superb to get the Emperor, because it's helping you in every single way possible to say, use your logic. Tarot keywords. If anybody wants my PDF, as in downloaded from the website, tarotwithannemare.com, where you'll find all of my courses and the methods that I use and the extensive way in which I read tarot. So these are the keywords, as in, and they are professional keywords. You won't really find these in other books. You may do, take a lot of searching. That's that one. And this is the other one that I was talking about. So that's, can you see that what I've done is I've put these together for you, and they are worksheets. So you can see that I've gone into just pointing at what's there, as in what it all means, the throne, the colours, and the planets, the astrological signs, whatever you want. And I did put reversed up on there for you to actually look at, but I do not read reverse cards, and there is a very big reason for that. Oh, you've really done well. Carla, thanks for that. I'm really pleased how you're getting on. I hope it's gone really well for you. Yeah, it's a method. That's the whole point. It's not meant to be difficult. It's meant to actually emphasize the depth that you can get. And here we've got a guest coming in.
Hello.
Hello,
This is the
pleased to
first
meet.
time I've ever done a joint live with someone, but I was inspired to come on and say how I found your videos inspiring out today.
I am. Oh, you've made my day. Thank you so much. Oh,
Yeah, I started listening a couple of days ago,
did
and
you
I just
really?
saw today that there was an advert to say you were going to be on live at 5. I didn't expect to come on live, but wanted to be on your stream. But I thought, no, it's nice to come on and let you know, because I've been doing reading tarot for about 4 years. I've actually started doing, last year I started teaching the basics to other people, like keywords, and because I was so passionate about it, but I'm always looking of ways to learn from others. Show me how easy it is to incorporate. I know my zodiacs, I know some of the houses, but to incorporate them into the card, I just noticed how you start off at the beginning of each card, mentioning the houses and the zodiacs, and I just found it so easy to link it in, and I now feel that I can also use that. You've helped me.
So this is fantastic. What wonderful feedback. Honestly, isn't it all about the fact that if you enjoy it and you find something that works, and this method worked for me, and oh gosh, going back into the 90s is when I trained with this, and I was really lucky to discover this method. And I went to, it was called Tarot School, and off I went, and I did loads of workshops back in the day, because you had to go to a classroom or a library or a community centre. I did everything and anything, and it was so much fun. But you know what? The teachers, they were so inspiring. And what I did is put bits and pieces. I've got all of this combined to try and say, look, I know how hard it can be. But I also
Yeah.
led a team of tarot readers that work professionally. And the problems sometimes were that it depends what kind of reader you want to be, doesn't it? And sometimes people say, online now, because of the fact that we've had COVID and that, of course, there's a lot of online reading going on. And that's wonderful because it's opened it right up. But
Mhm.
some of those are people that just want a yes or a no, or they want to be entertained. You know what I mean? Like we used to read the horoscopes. Today is this, and it would be a general statement. And that's wonderful. But there are people that actually really seek depth. And I found that was the bit that I could give to people so that somebody could come and get that impartial advice.
Yeah.
And this method supported the
Yeah.
readers that I had. Yeah, I started teaching it. And I'm so pleased that not only are you doing it, but you're teaching it as well.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you've been doing, darling.
Okay. So my name is Anne. 4 years ago, I got into tarot and I was like the passionate student. I had a lesson every Monday, but throughout the week, I was constantly just studying and trying to find out more information. So that's where I got my name from. I'm Sagittarius, so it was passionate Saggy. So that's who I am. It's the Saggy, passionate Saggy. After that, I did one course, my yoga teacher at the time, she was also a tutor. So I did a course with her. I went on to do like a second course, which would have incorporated the astrology. But unfortunately, we severed ties and I only got halfway through. So I'm aware of the zodiac, I'm aware of the astrology, your houses and so forth, but actually incorporating it into my reading was my problem. I've carried on doing my own studies, and as I am, I'm constantly looking for more information. Anyway, it was just last year. We all have readings as well. People read us. One of my go-to readers said she feels it would be good for me to also teach the basics. Like you, I've got like a PowerPoint slides and I do an 8-week course and just the basics for people to then start. And if they're like me, you will push. I kept a WhatsApp group as well so that when the person finishes the course, they're still practicing to keep it going. But my thing is, I've still haven't done the advanced course with any of my students. I'm still working on that, but I still always have it in the back of my head. This thing of incorporating the zodiac, the houses, the astrology, all that. So it's like I oftentimes watch other people's videos. I got to yours, and it was the Empress, and straight away at the beginning, you start with Venus, and then you went on to, I think I watched the first part of your teaching lessons, and then I started watching the second yesterday. And it just so happened that today I saw a message saying you were doing a live. So I thought, no, I don't want to miss it. I really, because I just
Oh,
felt that
great.
the way you explain it is so simple. And for me, it was like that aha moment as when I'm reading, I now know how to include it into my readings to to create expansion in a sense. Yeah, I already I'm just finding it amazing the way how you doing your teaching, and I
So
feel I
many
can learn from
layers.
you.
It's like opening up. I suppose there's Russian dolls, layers and layers there. It's been my passion for 30 years, and I'm always studying,
Hmm.
always on a course, or I used to be, or always running a course, or always. When I say a course, it could be crystals, it could be runes, it can be
Yeah,
feng shui, everything.
never ending.
Absolutely. And it's just not as ready available for people in the way that it used to be, because there used to be an awful lot of community centres that would run these type of things. Even if we were making aromatherapy, skincare, or playing with energy or psychometry. And it's lovely, but there's also so much depth that can come from the tarot. And as I said,
Yeah,
it was, I can't not share this. That's what it's about. Because to be honest, I'm lucky that I have plenty of clients. I'm very, very blessed, very, very grateful, and gosh, I'm a lucky girl. But it's this other side of me that's, "This works, I've got to share it."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can see what you're saying. I'm absolutely delighted. You're getting so much. I'm gonna show you some of the comments. They're absolutely loving it. A good
Thank you.
guy. Victor's saying I'm as such as well. Uh,
All right.
Carla's sending lots of love. Uh,
I have to say, to those who are just starting, not to give up because it is never ending. A lot of times, I actually work on a line as well. So I'm doing my own private thing. I started off with crystals. I make crystal jewelry. And like you said, I'm so interested in going on to the runes and the sigils. It just leads from one road to another and it's never ending. For me, it's once you find somebody like you who it's giving people the basics and a simple understanding, then you can feed from that and keep going on from that. It's amazing. There's a lot of people, even me, I've got a channel on here. I don't really do much with it, but then when you find somebody who kind of like is able to explain it in the right manner for you to just turn around and say, I've got it. That's brilliant. This absolutely brilliant. I just have to say thank you.
oh
You've
gosh,
given
thank
me
you.
that aha moment, and I know,
No, no, no.
once I
Thank
continue watching your videos, I'll get it
I'm
definitely.
absolutely delighted. And the courses that are there will take you right beyond what I can do on this platform because obviously I can't draw the diagrams or go through it in
Yeah,
a way. They take you to professional level. Anyone will open their doors if you read like that. But the piece,
yeah,
the puzzle that come together, like you're saying with the emperors, if that's just the self and it's just that question, what if somebody's actually saying about someone else? What if they're asking about where that happens to be in their life, in the past or in the present or in the future? What's the advice from the tarot? All of that comes from one
yeah,
thread. But using pairs, I would really urge you to try and do that because the
yeah.
it's like an alphabet, isn't it? The more letters that you learn, once you learn it, you go,
Mm,
hey, I've made a word. Wow, I've made a
yeah.
sentence. Now I've got a paragraph. Then all of a sudden, the essay comes, the novel comes, the encyclopedias comes, the dissertation comes. You become an expert,
Mhm,
and you're definitely doing that. Oh,
yeah. And
that's
one of the things as well, another thing I have to say, what caught me yesterday, just watching one of your videos, was when I work online, working on an online like a telephone line is so different to having your own private clients. And you have to be quite quick. Everybody wants an answer now. And one of the things that actually gets me, even after 4 years, is when they say, tell me how that person feels about me. And sometimes you pull a card and you're thinking to yourself, I'm not getting this. It's not coming together for me. And there was just a couple of things that you said that I picked up and I thought, now I can see what you're saying about the feeling. Because let's say you pick a wand, oftentimes you see there's passion there, or you pick say the cups, there's emotions. So straight away it's easier to pick up on the person's feeling. But if you've got something like the swords, then you're thinking to yourself, what can I get out of this card, which is going to show somebody's feelings? Do you understand what I'm saying? So that
absolutely.
as well, there are just certain things that I haven't come across before on other videos that really helped me, inspired me, and gave me that moment of now it makes sense.
Yeah.
And even after reading after 4 years and me reading every day on a line or even having private clients, you still get to a point where you're saying, I want to know more. I want to learn more. And I found it definitely from your videos. So absolutely brilliant. I'm grateful to have come across you.
Oh gosh, no, I'm grateful that you've come on here. I wanted it to look as if it was a bit like morning television and that it was friendly,
Mm,
and to do it like that and for it to be warm and a place where people could come and ask their questions and share their knowledge with us and or ask, and someone's going to have an answer somewhere along the line. Even if it's not today, someone might come back in a couple of weeks and say, gosh, got it, it's this. So that's exactly what I wanted to do. I'm so very grateful. It takes a lot of guts to come on here, and bravo. It really does, because people don't mind coming on when they're getting a little insight, as in reading or something
Mhm.
like that. But it takes a lot of guts to turn around and say what you said tonight, which is your journey and sharing that with us. But it's so inspirational. And it's like people will actually go, hang on a minute, I can make this happen. And I'm on
Yeah.
Instagram and all those platforms, and people all the time are saying, oh gosh, I hope soon I can make that transition into my spiritual life. This 95 is just, I'm getting too old for this. And
Mm.
I want to do more with my spiritual work. And it saddens me that they can't make that transition perhaps sooner, because I know they need it. But it's also perhaps because they're not ready.
Yeah.
We think we are, but if you're ready, you're going to go, what's it going to take for me? And I suppose that ends up being, what kind of reader you want to be. And you are finding your way by working on the line,
Mhm.
and you're also doing your own private clients, and how very different they are. Because
Yeah.
on face to face, they are a very different kettle of fish, and they can be very aloof with you, or they
Mhm.
very friendly with you, or they can be, they're vulnerable, or
Yeah.
or and one of the doesn't matter who you've got, but you can be in a position of going, gosh, I've got to do something else and time's up and I've got to go, and they don't want to leave you, and you're flattered by that, but you've still got to do your thing. So it
Yeah.
can be difficult. It can be difficult. It's one of those things where I would actually say everything and anything helps. And so when we share and when we actually learn, it's what it's all about. But absolute bravo to you for coming on here. What would you say is the difference between somebody in person that I haven't read for somebody in person for quite some time, simply because I'm busy with the courses, busy with my clients and putting it all together. I've taught myself through the tarot, I've taught myself sound, I've taught myself graphics, I've taught myself how to use Ecamm, how to make files, how to write.
Yeah.
I'm not a writer, I've got a lot to say, but I'm a talker, not a writer.
Yeah.
It's pushed me into that. And so all of that has come from tarot. And from the tarot
Mhm.
to turn around and travel the world, because I was working remotely, gosh, 15 years ago, before anybody started to do it. It was like, I don't want a shop. I don't want to be that I'm tied to living in a certain area, that if I move, I'll lose my clients. I'd been up and down Scotland, Brighton, oh gosh, Summers, Cornwall, you name it, Manchester, Liverpool, Derby, Nottingham, the big centres like Olympia, Excel Centre, all those places where they would do psychic or tarot events, or mind, body and spirit, or mind, body and soul, whatever they were called. Even being able to do articles for the magazines that kind of came out in the 90s, I think they're still around, Spirit and Destiny, Soul, all of those kind of things. And absolutely meeting people. And two of the people that really inspired me was Jonathan Caner, absolutely fabulous astrologer, and never met him. Unfortunately, he left us way too young. But I was fortunate enough, life's funny, isn't it? As a driving instructor, I taught his nephew, Oscar. And it was Oscar's dad that's brothers with Jonathan Caner. And what a talented family, inspirational, all creative, inspiring people, amazing people on your journey. And that's what I'm saying. It wasn't just the tarot. The tarot has opened all of these doors that would not have been open.
Yeah. I
Suddenly
think
become
also
very,
being on I think also being on that spiritual plane, that spiritual journey, because for me, like I said, I started off with crystals. I make sure crystal jewelry. I had my own shop. So I went to different events and I met a lot of sorts of people who did astrology and people who did tarot at the time. That's what drew me to tarot. But going back to your question in how I sort of work and how I feel, which is better, I I actually don't. I do face to face via video call. So I still don't have clients around me. I've got this thing about my own sacred space.
Yeah.
So I do video calls. I do prefer that much more than working online, telephone line.
Yep.
The reason being, it's still quite personal. And
Makes
I also like to give my clients rituals, things in terms of manifestation, because a lot of people, they come with financial problems. And
Yeah.
so I do like to do things like that. So working personally with someone as in private, I do tend to prefer that. On the line, you get a lot of people, and I don't want to let anybody down, but a lot of people are just desperate for the answers that they want.
Yeah.
If you don't answer it in the way they want it, that can be a problem.
Yeah.
And also, I find with the line, you get a lot of people who, even when you're giving them the answers for the rest of the week, they're still coming back for the same answer. Whereas when it's private readings, I tend to have readers who come once a month, once every 2 months, once every 3 months. So they give it time for things to work out for them. They give it time to see the results. And I just feel you can build up a better rapport with some of the clients as well.
Yeah.
This is why I tend to, for me, it's more, and I have to say that I use the telephone line as a practice, and I don't want it to sound bad, but it was a way for me to keep consistently reading people and
Of
growing as
course.
the time has gone
Area.
on.
You're
Yeah.
walking the boards of your career. And I have to say that we are so blessed to have you on, and we really are.
Thank you.
Thank you, because I don't think people have your experience. What I mean by that, I didn't mean it's. There are so many different ways that you can do it online, and
Mhm.
have definitely had a very diverse experience of how you are working. And it makes perfect sense to me. You're becoming a complete master of the art of your love and passion. And if
Mhm.
you're only doing it on one platform, I think it could possibly make or break you, because
Yeah.
you could go. I remember teaching Jess, one of my students in the tarot group, and she went right through. And very gifted young lady, wonderful, trained veterinary nurse, beautiful young lady, very gifted, pagan background family, lots and lots of knowledge, definitely a very gifted empath and psychic. And she wanted the tarot. But as soon as she went on the lines, she just froze and said, I can't read in this way, because it
Mhm.
wasn't for her. And
Yeah.
others, in actual fact, I find it easier online, the opposite of you, because
Mhm.
I found that they wouldn't get up off the table and let the next one sit down, and I'd have a queue outside. And it was like,
Mhm.
then you're not pleasing anybody. So I'm not very good at saying time's up.
Yeah.
And also, I thought, can you make that connection online? And mine's telephone. Email, I'm not a writer. Messages, I want to change it 100 times. So by the time I've done it, it's no good for anybody. I want to give them depth. I can't do that in a message. And when I'd go to Mind, Body and Spirit shows, they'd all look around and the queue would be there and go, how long? And I'd feel awful that I'm torn between finishing this and telling you when it's going to be and all of that. And also all that noise in there and other people's egos and vibes, and you can feel everything, can really be very draining for someone that's sensitive and using all your skills, can't it? So
Mhm.
I think that people that do it message is wonderful, but it's not for me. But I have dipped like you. And I think that when you work out what kind of reader you want to be, and that's what I'm saying, do you want to be a reader that's doing personal? Do you want to be a reader that's on the lines? Do you want to be a reader that's actually just got your own little thing with your email? Dan, someone that comes to me as in quite often, says, AnneMarie, I just want to do one card and just charge a small amount, and I'm happy with, gosh, sometimes he'll have 45 in the morning, and I couldn't deal with that. I would need, that would take me, because of the depth. We're all different. And as long
Yeah.
as you find who you are, and see, and Jess walked away from it and she went back to her day job. And then
Yeah.
gradually she went, I know what it is. It's crystals for me and it's readings. As it is, she sat up a caravan, moved off towards a city on the sea, and she does her readings from her caravan, which allows her to be with her family. She only does a little, and she, like you, she's saying you've got to give it time for it to happen. Whereas some readers on the lines, they will actually, they're running their lives by it. So therefore, there's big, important decisions that affect a lot of people. They're not asking the same questions, not at all. They are going into next.
Mhm.
A lot of people that I've got a lot of VIPs that are responsible for not just businesses, but countries. We won't go there. But there are certain things. And so that's a huge responsibility. So they need a bit of nurture too. They need some impartial advice on X, Y, Z. Boom, that's it. We're not telling them what to do. We're just laying out that map and saying, how's
Yeah.
it at the moment? It's X, Y, Z. So being a different, there are many different kinds of how you're doing the reading. It's also the generic for a good YouTube. It's pick a pile, it's every star sign. It's hard because you're either going to feel, I wanted to give more, or you're going to feel that you're doing little, but a lot of people. So
Yeah.
that's down to the individual to decide. And once you crack that and you're happy with where you are, and for you, it sounds like you love that one-to-one and you love that kind of connection with the person as in front of you. I think that's amazing. We are all so blessed to be getting this absolute information from you because it's so helpful to others because they may be at the start of their journey or a bit like Jess, she was ready to give up and then suddenly,
No.
it came along and it's you can't because out of anyone I've ever met, Jess had parents that they were born for this thing. It's absolutely wonderful. Really was.
Can I,
Okay.
can I just say one thing I say to all my students, and I've done about 3 rounds of tutoring now, and I've got, I'd say I'd say about 9 people I've had so far, and I think I'd say 6, 7 stuck with it.
Yeah.
And I've got at least 2 people out of those, say, 6, 7 who are ready to go off and do their own thing. And this was just
That's
last year, April, I started. For me, and the way I say to my students in the group is every reader is unique. There is not anyone who is wrong in what they're doing.
absolutely.
It's how you interpretate the cards. It's not about, you can have in the group, one thing I always promote is you can have 3, 4 different answers from one reading.
Absolutely.
So never ever feel like I can't do this or I'm not picking it up because I believe in spirit, connecting with spirit. Some people will just say it's just reading the cards. But the point is, it's what you draw from that card which gives you your answers.
Absolutely. It's the symbology of the cards that causes the foundation for you to go, I've got the meanings, I've got the understanding, I've got the blueprint.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, everything you've ever done, all your crystal work, all your intuition work, all your mediumship, or, imagery, and it all comes in different sort of combinations.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
And that's what these courses are all about. And that's why
yeah,
there's the cards that are trying to give people that kind of that support. What are they getting from it? It really is about the fact that someone might say, I read that card like this. And
yeah,
that is what I'm looking for someone to say, I always see it like this. I always see
yeah.
it like that. But this is,
I have my own library as well. A library that helps me that somebody else is, I may have the keyword, but I also have a library that I draw.
yeah,
Like the Hierophant I struggle with, but one of the things I do, and I was watching yours actually, and one of the things I get from the Hierophant, I get a lot of times, especially when you've got like an interview, that is the card that shows me there's an interview.
absolutely.
I get a
Absolutely.
reunion from that card, reunion, as well as I get tradition, religion, I get marriage, I get the
Absolutely.
rules, but I have my own library because sometimes I struggle with the
Yeah.
original meaning.
No worries at all. We'll be doing that card in a couple of no, we'll be doing that card next, won't we? Of course we will.
Oh, well.
Yeah, 4. Probably next Thursday, I think, because we're on card 4. So yeah, it will be. That's a biggie. Also, go and have a pop onto our website and have a look at the courses because it
Will
will go
do.
to some massive details. But I think where you might find it interesting is go and look at the intermediate. Absolutely out of this world, because that might be your next bit where you might go, oh my gosh, the intermediate is it's like nothing you've probably come across before. It's my signature course. So have a little look at
Okay.
that, see what you think, because it ties in with everything we're doing, but it will expand on that. Thank you so much. Sharing that, for me, just hearing your story, absolutely love it, because I can identify with it, and I think a lot of other people can too. And if you want to be able to do that and you feel that you haven't got enough meat on the bone, as it were, these are the courses that I realized I needed to make so that people could give that extra and to give that depth and to give that nuanced answer to it. So that in actual fact, if you've got somebody that's going, come on, I want to know, that you actually have all the tools on the table to say,
Yeah.
yep, I've got the answers here. Certain ethical things that you wouldn't, certain things that you don't want to touch. That's your own boundaries. And that's what I'm saying. What kind of reader do you want to be? These courses will get you to professional level, folks, and it's all about learning. I'm going to say thank you very much. And I am all
Okay.
to say to you, have a wonderful week, and let's hope we see you soon. All right, my darling.
And thank you.
Thank
Then.
you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye,
Bye. Bye.
darling. But what a treat. How wonderful was that? And such a lovely welcome. I just wanted to be able to show you this. So I just wanted to share these with you. Different emperors from different decks. So they're all very different. And sometimes people can get stuck because they are perhaps all too often beautiful cards, as you can see demonstrated here. These are all Rider-Waite based, but it can be that deck that you're actually using may not be right for you as a beginner, or might not be right to you in some way. This one is a Hanson Roberts tarot. This one is the Winter Waite. And so when you're learning and you want to do the courses, different emperors, to their look from this deck, this is the Groovy Waite deck, and that is an extra emperor called Smoky. As lovely as it is, you may not be able to get the information you truly want. There's the emperor, lovely image, great stuff going on there. But the symbology, once you've cracked it, you can go on and use your decks like nothing on earth. And Father Christmas here, they're fun decks, but they may not be helping you with your journey to be able to, you love them, you might pick up symbology, some people might pick up on the colors and it speaks to them. It's whatever floats your boat. But if you are struggling, do have a look at your deck and just make sure that it's the right one for you. And a Rider-Waite based deck, such as this one or this one, will definitely be universal to any sort of courses or information that you're getting. The others, yeah, that's where you can use your intuitive self. I hope that helped. That's the Smith-Waite Tarot deck, because I'll get asked. That's the Trippin-Waite Tarot. They're all lovely. This is the plastic Rider-Waite deck. Yes, it's plastic. This one is Morgan Greer. I think we've done that one, haven't we? The Groovy Waite. Yeah. The Winter Waite. And the Hanson Roberts. Made for small hands, but again, very different. If you are struggling, have a look at your deck. Maybe that might be what it's all about. How are you, my darling girl? Hey, Patsy has been following me for a long time. Patsy, cuddle, it's wonderful to see you. Thank you. How are you getting on? How are your studies going? And how's your tarot journey going as a reader? I know that you were right in the midst of it, and not easy for you because I think you'd also got a day job. So It is a lot of responsibility for you and your family. I know that. Finally, I've got to see you, she says. Oh, I'm always delighted. And we had passionate Saji. So anyone, please do watch this because passionate Saji is absolutely fabulous. What a lovely thing to say. Thank you for the lessons. Victor, thank you very much too. We've gone way over, but wow, wasn't it worth it? And I'm sorry if it went off at tangents about the lesson, but I hope you got your lesson, your educational points that are there, so that you know all about that card, the Emperor. And hugs. I'm so pleased to see you, Patsy. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. All the best. Bye bye.